Thank you, Mr. Chair. First of all, I'd like to thank all the citizens who came out today, and particularly those who spoke very eloquently about this issue. And I'd most certainly like to pass on my own regrets as to what has happened to them. It is unacceptable. I think with the best of intentions in this process, there has been a failure of decision-making where we rushed somewhat into something without having certainty that we had all the cogs in the process in place. And in this case, most certainly not the processing. The private sector has not responded as hoped for, and that's in part because we have not been able to guarantee them certainty of supply and sufficient supply. We have fragmented the program somewhat with District of Saanich going one way, other municipalities working through the CRD and so forth. The private sector needs, if they're going to build a facility, an appropriate facility, needs a certainty of at least 10 years of supply, and they need an amount of supply that is appropriate and needs to be guaranteed. Why would you invest millions of dollars if you didn't have those kind of guarantees? And the answer, of course, is that you wouldn't. But I think there has been a larger failure here that I referred to back a year or two ago, and I'll repeat again. And that is we have not managed to take an integrated look at the waste streams in the region and how they might be handled. Not just kitchen scraps, but also things like sewage biosolids and other waste materials in the region. There are technologies that can handle those waste streams. For example, a modern gasifier, which is something that can be placed in, actually, in many cases, in virtually residential areas without an impact. There is one down at Dockside Green right now that operates regularly. It operates on wood waste at the current time. It is not offensive. It doesn't provide odors. Most people don't even know what it is, and it's been there for a number of years. Modern gasifiers can handle wood waste as a feedstock. They can handle sewage biosolids as a feedstock. They can handle kitchen scraps as a feedstock, as long as you get the appropriate mix in the material that goes in. They can be located in an area where they provide heat, and the heat can be used to heat buildings and so forth. And they also provide a gas that can be put through a generator and provide, or an engine rather, and provide electricity, or ultimately, if you wish to go through other processes, can be upgraded to fuel, and as such is a biofuel. They operate at a temperature of anywhere from about 700 to 1200 degrees centigrade, depending on the exact technology used. So I don't believe we are at all, Mr. Chair, and I'll continue.
Yeah, I would ask you to focus a little more because those kind of comments you're making now are helpful, but I think it would be more helpful when we have the long-term report in.
Well, the purpose of this, Mr. Chair, thank you, is to provide input to staff and this committee as to what we should be investigating for that long-term input. We have made the assumption that kitchen scraps should be composted. That is not necessarily an appropriate assumption. They could be placed into a modern gasifier as a fuel. That modern gasifier could also use other waste streams in the region, and we should be looking, what we have failed to do at this committee and other committees, is look at an integrated approach to the waste streams in the region. That is something we should be doing. It could provide a much better solution to these people and to everybody else in the region. So I think it is very germane in that respect. The University of Victoria is going to, in the not distant future, build a gasifier because they need to stop using natural gas to heat their buildings in the heat loop they have. We could possibly entertain discussions with the university to see if a joint facility could be built there that could handle our waste streams.
Point of order, Mr. Chair. I thought you had ruled that talking about the future report was out of order at this time.
I'd asked him to focus it Now, so the point that we have from you, Director Derman, is that you want, and you're asking staff to look at gasifiers.
I'm
I think
asking
we have
staff,
that point.
I'm asking staff to begin the process of looking at a integrated approach to waste streams in this region.
Right.
The problem we have got into is the fact that we have not done that. We're in a problem in several areas.
Okay, I'm
including
going to
this
ask
one.
you to move on to the next point then. Thank you.
Thank you. So, well, that is the primary point, that
Thank
when
you.
we get a report back from staff, if it is just a report of looking at how we can handle composting of kitchen scraps, I think it misses the boat, as we have missed the boat down here for some years now. Thank you.